2019 marks the 20th anniversary of Anaconda. It's a show a lot of people know about, and a lot of people still talk about, even though it hasn't been on the air in a very long time. As I've mentioned a couple times already, I think the show should be rebooted, and I want to be responsible for that. In previous videos, I've talked about how it could be done. This video, I'm going to talk about why it should be done. So, here are 10 reasons why Anaconda should be rebooted. The show was a huge success the first time around. When it was airing, it consistently pulled in high numbers from all over the world. It was commonly marathoned during its time on Fox Kids, which shows its popularity. It spawned a ton of merchandise. And it also got some attention from award ceremonies. It was nominated for 2 Daytime Emmys. It won an Annecy Award, which is from an international festival, and it won a Gemini Award, which is the Canadian equivalent of the Emmys. It's also very fondly remembered by its Canadian audience. So a reboot is very, very likely to get a ton of attention too. Considering the show is still so known and so talked about, a reboot is very likely to get a ton of viewership and guaranteed an audience. This is one of the few potential reboots where changes are not only necessary, but they'd be very, very welcome. Anaconda is a show that really inspires passion in people. People either love this show or they hate it, but they remember it. And even critics have a passion behind it. Going back to something I've mentioned before, the Powerpuff Girls, a hugely successful show, had a very bad focus test. And Mike Lazo, the executive behind it, said, okay, an extreme reaction is far better than a neutral or a lukewarm reaction. It means you've really hit a nerve with the audience, that they really want to like it, but they don't have all the right information. That is all the more reason to get a new creative team behind it. Get some of the original people back, but bring new voices to it. Give this show new life. It has the potential to be something utterly amazing, and there is passion behind it, online and on the creative side. We also have the advantage of knowing what worked and what didn't the first time around. We have 20 years of reviews to look at, and even the stuff that people said didn't work has been very, very consistent. The things that people said didn't work were the animation style and flat, unsympathetic characters. Now, animation technology has improved dramatically in the last 20 years, so it can look really, really beautiful while staying true to what it was. And as for character development, the character foundation is already there. It just needs to be a little more specific and a little more heartwarming. So making a really sincere story with today's technology, with today's respect for kids shows and animation, can really help the show maximize its full potential. Production is completely feasible. Now, the show's already developed from a writing standpoint. The best production company to use on the animation side is Jib Jab. They're an entertainment studio that specializes in this style of animation specifically. They've been around for a while, they've made some big name videos, and they have original television animation with their show Ask the Storybots. They really know their stuff with this style of animation. Their work has been nominated for Daytime Emmys and Annie Awards, and it matches the style of Anaconda perfectly. Even among so many new options in terms of television and storytelling nowadays, Anaconda is still an extremely original show with its own unique identity. Nothing else looks like it, nothing else thinks like it. It has a simple story. It's got its own unique characters. And it's a simple story nothing else really touches. No other show really deals with anger the way this show does, and I'm going to get to that later. Nothing else really looks like this. Nothing else thinks like it. No other show uses fantasy sequences the way this show does. I describe it as Peanuts meets South Park. It's got this offbeat charm to it, but it also has an edge. It's got the best of both worlds in terms of what made older storytelling great and what could make modern storytelling really groundbreaking. A lot of older shows had very, very harsh worlds, and a lot of modern shows are about understanding. And this show really has the potential to bring that together and make something really, really great. The plot of the show is very simple, easy to understand, and allows tons of possibilities for stories. The plot of the show is a girl uses her imagination to deal with difficult people and situations. I could think of a few episodes right now. Angela and her friends cheer up Gordy Reinhardt when he's in the hospital for an asthma attack. Gina Lash is tired of being compared to her beautiful mother, so she enters a local beauty pageant. Angela and Nanette have to do a school group project with each other's friends. Angela gets pranked every year by her brothers when they take their holiday card pictures, so she decides to get even. And Angela's forced to spend time with Nanette at their dad's company picnic. There's so much possibility here. The show practically writes itself. Anaconda fits DHX's programming slate in that it's really consistent with its shows, but is also totally different from everything it has. And one thing that's really consistent with Anaconda and DHX's other shows is the power of imagination, where you can go, the endless possibilities that it has. And what Anaconda does differently is shows you how imagination can be used to cope with some very harsh realities. And it's got a ton of the action that DHX's other shows have, but in a much more slice-of-life way, so you can still get tons and tons of fun and creativity with the visuals and can really go anywhere, while still keeping it grounded in a reality. I compared the show to Peanuts. DHX owns the rights to Peanuts and just landed a deal with Apple for more content. Let's see more Anaconda content. The show's really funny. I want to see more. Here's some of my favorite moments from the first time around.
So when I'm old enough, I'm gonna run away from home and become a waitress at a truck stop. Now, I'm really skating. Maybe if she does that long enough, she'll throw up. Maybe if she does that fast enough, she'll explode.
A reboot has the potential to bring in upcoming talent and hear from new people. The original show has such a simple, brilliant premise that everybody can relate to and identify with. And I love the original show, but even I'll acknowledge that a problem it had the first time around was that it relied a lot on cliches. This is not a slam against any of the creative, talented, and hardworking people who worked on the original show. But times have also changed in 20 years, and storytelling has too. But bringing on new people and revitalizing it will keep what made it great, but really elevate it and make it a great show that fits within the times. It allows new people to come on and tell their stories. It would allow for more comedy, more interesting ideas, more fun, more imagination, and really give a new life to this show that quite frankly deserves it. Anaconda has the potential to reach a wide variety of people. Everybody knows how unfair life can be, and a lot of people out there do get revenge fantasies. Everybody's dealt with difficult people and difficult situations, which allows for a lot of fun within the show. But there are also other characters that have the potential to be explored too. It's not just a show for one type of person. It's not really a niche show. It's got a very broad appeal with the kind of story it is. It's not a show that just focuses on the kid characters. There are interesting adults in there too. While the whole show is Angela's point of view, it is her story, there are a variety of interesting characters with their own weird quirks. Her dad's an inventor and her mom's an artist. Her teacher acts like a spoiled teenager. She's got her older brothers who are half decent, half awful. astronaut living in town who's a local celebrity. Astronaut Bob, he's cool. There's a good eccentric mix of characters. Her friends are a gang of misfits. So there is potential to reach a ton of different personality types with these characters. Keep expanding on them, keep putting them in situations with different characters. There are tons and tons of possibilities with the world the show's already given us that can also be taken one step further. Anaconda's other main theme of anger is far more relevant today than it was when it first came out. Anger is a very misunderstood emotion. A lot of people see the destructive side of it, but it's also a very human emotion that leads to passion and life and creation and change, as long as you know how to manage it. Anaconda is a very misunderstood show for some of the same reason. And it's very, very escapist for how it handles small moments of life not being fair. It's very easy to get that at a very young age. Kids know that life's not fair, and it's one of the hardest lessons to learn. It's very escapist for that reason, and it justifies a lot of rage that disenfranchised youth, among others, feel. Everyone feels this once in a while. And this show handles it in a way that's very fun, engaging, and genuine. It never feels like it's forcing this, and it never feels like an after-school special. It always feels honest in a way it handles this. No other show has touched this subject when the show came out, and no other show is doing it nowadays as the main focus of the show. And a reboot would allow us to explore that a lot more than it was done the first time around. That is the big reason, especially with today's cultural shift and a lot of frustration from a lot of people, why we need this show and why we need it now. There's infinite potential. It is extremely relatable. It's a very known show, and it struck a nerve with so many people and deserves to really maximize its potential as a show. It deserves to be recognized for that. All we need is a yes, because this is a good show, and it has the potential to really be a great one.